So, pizza, tacos, and beer. Food that pretty much everyone on this planet likes. And, well, beer, because it's accessible. This channel really isn't here to do what most beer and food pairing shows do, whether it's a show or a podcast, a magazine article, radio shows, Morse code. Beer and food pairings usually follow about two groups. Uh, the first one is where you say this style pairs with this food, like IPAs and steaks, which is crazy because like what cut of meat for the steak? What animal? How are you preparing it? Is it a barbecue? Is it flat iron? Is it deep fried? Is it sous vide? You can do a bunch of things with steaks. You can't just say something pairs with a steak. It's crazy. The same goes with IPAs. I mean, are the hops coming from Pacific Northwest, England, Germany, Russia? Got some hop strains coming. A lot of it. The other day I was listening to something. They were like, "What beer pairs with candy?" And it's like, "What candy? There's so many candies." So that's what the first school of thought when beer and food pairing comes up. The second one is where someone pairs a really specific beer with a really specific food. Pliny the Younger is a great beer, but it only really exists very briefly in a window. So if you were to take a Pliny the Younger and pair it with the appropriate, rather intense food dish that it would need, you really only have access to that beer and that food for like a second. And that's what a lot of people end up doing. It doesn't give you access or accessibility to that beer or that food. And so writing about it, reading about it, putting up a YouTube channel about it, it does no one any good. They're like, oh, that sounds interesting. So does the trip to Mars. But like, no one's going there. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to use beers like this Guinness here that I paired with some ramen noodles, which worked out quite nicely, and just give you some little bit of help in enjoying your beer and food experience by giving you beers you hopefully have access to and foods you probably have access to, show you how to pair both and why they work together. Um, yeah, because if we're putting all this information out there in the world and you don't have the ability to enjoy the experience yourself, what's the freaking point? There is none. It's just like, oh, look how smart I am. I know about beer and food. Pew, 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 pew. No, no, I'm going to do my best to make sure that you have access to all experiences that I'm describing. And if you have any more opinions about what you'd like to see, whether it's just a favorite food that you always eat or favorite beer you always drink, just, mention it in the comments. Not my laugh. Don't mention it in my laugh. That's weird. But yeah, mention it. Tag me, post me, hit me up, and do our best to make sure that you get the best beer and food existence that you can. I'm Will Oberst, the beer champion. No, I didn't win a contest. I just really like talking about beer and food. All right. Like and subscribe, I guess. Whatever.